Yeah, buddy. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, it's a great day. We have got a lot of good stuff going on today. I can't tell you how happy I am that you're here with me. You know, we've got a good stuff planned for today, but we've also got good stuff planned for the next few days after that. So, want to make sure that you're all on. If you're on, please put in a hashtag live. If you are listening in replay, put in a hashtag replay. Let me know where you're coming in from as well. That would be great. And then, anytime you can share this video with other people, that's great too. I love that. And also, don't forget to put in your timeline. Now, Michael Haig mentioned he would do this yesterday, and I haven't seen this yet, but I'm sure he'll do it. Put in a picture of you winking. And the idea behind that is to begin to know what makes you unique. Now, I know what makes me unique, and it's not my eye. What makes me unique is my positive personality. If you want to hear more, listen to this, just watch this, and then come back with me, and we will have a further conversation about what it is that makes us all unique. And we'll talk about blind spots as well. Stick around. I'm so happy you've decided to spend your morning with me just for half an hour. But like I said, we have great guests coming on. Today, it's me. I mean, how much better can you get? But really, the guest we're having coming on at 11:30 for the Stroke of Genius is going to be Kelly Renee Baker, and she's going to talk about her medical process that she's been through and the caregivers that have helped her along the way. So stick around for that at 11:30, but then also next week, I'm not going to tell you who they are yet because we've got some big guests. So stick around till the end, and we'll talk about those. But really, for this morning, and I see there are a number of people that are already on this morning, so I'm glad to see you. But really want to make sure that we started to talk about blind spots and how important it is to begin to understand our blind spots. How do we do that, though? It's not easy. You know, we have to be self-aware, for one. We have to have an awareness that something's not happening that should be happening. We feel as though it should be happening because we're putting all of our energy towards doing this. So how do we get to a point where we begin to know what those blind spots are, know what's holding us back? That is so important for us to be able to do. So with blind spots, we think of how there's something happening that shouldn't be happening, or there's something not happening that should be happening. Well, for me, what I do, and this is what happens for a lot of people, is you almost have to pay someone to help you see your blind spots. You don't always have to pay them real money. You can barter something, but to help you go farther, they will need to be able to be persons that are truth tellers. And truth tellers typically aren't those people that love you. So yes, my wife will help me with my blind spots at times, but really to get to a point where I understand my blind spots and I'm able to see through my blind spots, I'm going to need somebody else to tell me, hey, Brian, what you said, that really wasn't nice. Or, hey, Brian, and yes, I say things that are not nice. I make mistakes. So understanding that is helpful. But then, so before I go too far, I want to make sure that you understand that there's a process to going through all of these blind spots. But while we're at this point, let me bring on the people that have already signed on. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. Allie Dennis, thank you so much for coming on, Allie. I appreciate you and you being on here today. So we're talking about blind spots and how important they are to understand. Who else do we have on? Oh, there's Ted. Good morning, Ted. I'm so happy to see you this morning. It's great. And yes, and then there's also Eric Bam, my friend, another good friend. They're all friends, but this is all good. Happy Pizza Friday. Yeah, so what kind of pizza are you eating today, Eric? Tell me about it. I'd love to hear about it. Let's see. Who else do we have on? Kevin Hunt. Good morning, Kevin. It's good to see you this morning. All good stuff. So we're talking about pizza, but we're also talking about blind spots. So thank you. You shared this. This is good. I appreciate that. And everyone else, if you would share this as well, this would be great to make our community bigger. That's really what this is all about. So let's see. Who else do we have on? No blind spots here. You've had a lot of coffee, so you're seeing a lot of stuff. Eric, you never cease to amaze me. Allie, good morning, Allie. Oh yeah, love to hear about blind spots. You love to hear about other people's blind spots, but we're going to talk about your blind spots as well. Okay, so we're not going to really talk about your blind spots, Allie, but we're going to talk about how you can help to see your blind spots. Who else do we have? Ted, good morning. What did I do here? I messed up. All right. Ted saying good morning to Eric. You can do that. It's all right. But let's talk about blind spots. So how do you see blind spots? Man, that's a hard thing to do. Well, I think about blind spots, and yes, I do think that you have to pay someone at times to see your blind spots. But what's important is that when you see or you ask for help with your blind spots, ask for assistance, and you need to make sure that you ask for this in a certain way. You need to make sure you ask certain people, and you need to make sure that you ask for it in a timely manner, so at a certain specific time. So what am I talking about? Well, what I'm talking about here is being able to see your blind spots and having someone else see your blind spots. So you need to make sure you ask for the truth teller, like I was telling you earlier. It's so important to make sure that you know who you're asking to see your blind spots. That's step one. That is really where it all starts, is knowing who you're going to ask and having that relationship that's caring and loving, but also not too loving, where they are going to just cushion you and say all kinds of good things. That sounds fine, but it's not helpful. It's really not helpful. So first, understand who you're going to ask. Then think about when you're going to ask. Who am I going to ask, and when am I going to ask? So if I'm a speaker, if I'm a part of a business team, and I'm going and giving presentations to the CEO, I want to make sure that I have somebody that's there with me before and while I'm practicing. Hopefully I'm practicing, but I want to have someone there with me to help me to see my blind spots. But when I ask them to listen, I don't want them to just listen to the speech and say, okay, what do you think of that? That's helpful, but that's not helpful. I mean, it gives you an overall idea of the speech, but you really want to make sure that you hone in on specific items. Tell me about how I did with my transitions. Tell me about if this story moved you. Tell me about if. So you're asking for a specific item for you, for the person that's looking for your blind spots, in order for them to be able to help you. That's very important for us all to understand. What do I look for that's going to help you? What part of this life you're living or career you have, what can I help you with? What specific help? Because, I mean, just generalizations don't really help that much. But being specific leads to credibility, and that's really what makes this all go around. Let's see, what else? When do you ask? So for blind spots, really, I think it's important for us all to understand our blind spots. So for me, when I do a blind spots, I ask somebody for my blind spots, it's usually after or before I give a speech. And I tell them to look for, is this story resonating with you? Does it make sense? Or maybe I'll ask for transitions, help with transitions, and making sure that it's not just my tongue's getting away from me. Making sure that it's not, that it is congruent. You know, that the story is congruent all the way through. So that's what I look for. You know, but when I ask for it and I ask for the feedback, I don't want it right away. I don't want that feedback right away. I don't want me to come off the stage and I'll be glowing and I'll be happy and everything, and then they'll give me my feedback, and I'm like, they'll crush me. You don't want that. You want to make sure that you ask for feedback in a specific time frame. You know, in a week or in a couple days, let me know how I did. Or that's how I think, from my perspective, that it's going to be most beneficial. I'm going to be able to hear it better. Let's see, who else do we have on? Good morning, and let's see, Ted, I see yes, you already talked about that one. Sorry. The hospital in McHenry. So McHenry County Hospital there in Illinois, up on the northwest side of Chicago. That's I hope you're doing better, Ted. I really do. You know, there's lots of stuff that you have going on, and I feel so bad to have you going through that. But you're a warrior, man. I love you, and you're just on fire. You want to get better, but at the same time, you can't go anywhere. So you're listening to these podcasts and listening to other stuff that's helping you. And I'm just I'm thankful and appreciative that you would choose to be a part of this podcast this morning. So thank you, Ted. Let's see, who else we have here. That made Allie laugh. Thanks, Allie. Let's see. And then Eric is wearing bedazzled pants. Why would you wear bedazzled pants, Eric? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Anyway, you can wear whatever you want. Let's see. Feedback is very important in business. It helps fix challenges you're going through. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Ted. Awesome. Cool. Well, good conversation. So that's the first part of feedback. The first part is to make sure, the first part of blind spots is to ask for feedback and to ask for it in a specific manner, ask for specific people to give you that feedback, and ask for specific items for them to listen to or to hear or to watch, to understand what you're doing. To understand what you're doing makes a big difference, but you don't always get to see that. So the people that are going for your feedbacks or listening to your feedback or giving you feedback, they're the ones that are going to be able to help you get better. But you got to make sure that when you get that feedback, you receive it. You got to receive it as a gift. And what do you say when you receive a gift? Thank you. That's why it's so important to understand that when you ask for feedback, you receive it that way. Because for one, you're not going to receive it if you don't receive it as a gift, you're not going to receive it in the future from that person, because they're going to be jaded. They're not going to want to give you feedback. So that's important for us all to understand that that receiving feedback is very important. Let's see, who else do we have here? More chatter, and yeah, so that's good. Yep, thank you, Ted. Yeah, I already posted that one. Thank you, and yes, thank you. Do people have blind spots when looking back at their past? Huh. Yeah. I definitely think that people have blind spots when looking back at their past. You know, I choose to, I choose to remember my past and everything pretty much everything I do, from a perspective of somebody with two good eyes. So, I don't see normally when I'm seeing right now. I don't see normally. So I have two images. I have an image up here and I have an image down here. That's really how I see. So a little bit of light comes out of this eye and sees that image. So it to you, it's got to seem very, very strange, and it is. But that's how I see. I'm able to get around. Now I concentrate more on this image because that's my dominant eye. Well, it is now, anyways. But understanding that's a blind spot of mine, looking back. So that's different than what you said you were talking about. But that's how I view my blind spots in my past. So, for example, somebody else that is looking in the past, they don't see things the way they are. They see the way things they are. Does that make sense? They don't see the way things are. They see the way things they are. They see things the way they are. So, for example, let's say I'm a truck driver, and everything I see is a load, and I don't really think too much about anything other than load. Although when I'm on the road, I see cars and drivers, acting inappropriately. Well, if I'm going to get on if I'm a truck driver and I'm on the highway and there's an on-ramp coming on from the side, the person that's coming on from the on-ramp is technically supposed to slow down because the person on the highway has the right of way. So it's a blind spot to think that I have the right of way if I'm coming on the exit ramp or the entrance ramp. Now, looking back, I can see that I may have been wrong, but if I don't know that, if I don't know that I'm wrong, then I'm still going to think, well, that trucker should have given me the right of way. So that's an example of how, looking back, you don't always get to see things the right way. You don't always get to see the impact you're having. So I don't know. Does that make sense, Eric? If there's some other questions in that regard, please let me know. Let's see. And Ted says that yes. Ted says yes, that they can see their blind spots if they're looking backwards. I don't think that's always the case. Sometimes it is, but you don't always get the chance to see your blind spots, even when you're looking back. If you're looking back and you begin to realize that that things are going a certain way because you don't understand the impact you're having, or you do begin to understand the impact you're having, then in that case, I would say you're able to see your blind spots. But typically, I don't think that's the case. Typically, that's not something you're able to do because you still view things the way you are. So, having said that, that's a great question, Eric. We need to talk more about that. So, do you get to see your blind spots when you're looking back? So, what else can I tell you about this morning? So, what else we're talking about is in regards to your blind spots and how we all have blind spots. But what are those blind spots? What are some typical blind spots? I would say one of the typical blind spots is a lack of appreciation, or maybe not knowing appreciation from recognition. That's a blind spot. If we can understand that appreciation means appreciating someone, saying thank you, just being what's the word I want to use? Being considerate, maybe. but also knowing the impact that person's having on your organization. So if there's somebody that works for you, some might say that appreciation is that I paid them. Well, no. You paying them is table stakes. So appreciating them means saying thank you, saying please, doing those things that kind of go above and beyond what's typically done to help people. That's what I would say is a blind spot when it comes to appreciation. And then recognition. Sometimes people don't want to be, put on the stage and be recognized. I mean, in some instances, that could be the worst thing for them because of their anxiety or whatever the case may be. So that appreciation versus recognition is an important part of. It really is a blind spot, and that is something that we all can begin to see through if we're understanding our people. But so that's how you see through your blind spot in that regard. If you can see through your blind spot if you have a conversation with your people. If you talk to them and find out, maybe for appreciation, if you're giving them a Starbucks gift card and they don't like Starbucks, well, that's not really help. That's not really doing what you want. Or recognition, that would be recognition. But what else can you do for that person? You can get to know them better. You can get to know what they like and what they don't like. You get to know their family. Get to know all the things that are going on. That's important for us all to understand. The people on our team, having that relationship, and really, you can say team, you can say your customers. Having that relationship and having that knowledge of who they are is very important. What other kind of blind spots are there? Another kind of blind spot is lack of consideration. If you know that a person on your team or a colleague or a client, that they have something going on at maybe 5:30 on a certain night, it doesn't show consideration to that person if you schedule a meeting right before that, or I did this last night. I had a person that was helping me with my artwork, thumbnails, if you will, for the show, and I said at 4:00, I said, "Can you have those to me by 8? 8 in the morning?" That's not very nice. I should have known better. I should not have done that. So I should have planned a little better, had an instance where I had a conversation with them beforehand, or I just went without it. I mean, sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you forget things, and you just need to go without whatever it is you're planning on. If you didn't tell somebody else about your plan. So that's one of those things that I would say consideration is important for us all to understand. Now then, what else do we have? Oh, there's many other blind spots that we can talk about. We're all at 23 minutes. Let's see. Anybody else on? No. I don't see any other comments. If there are other comments that you have in regards to blind spots and how you can see through them, please let me know. I'd be interested to find out more about that and what questions you might have. I also want to talk a little bit about Friday. So this being Friday, some people say, I don't like to celebrate Friday because it's another day of the week. And it's not that I hate my job. I don't want to get away from my job, but I don't want to look at Mondays as a negative. So I can see that. That's understandable. But I would say that Friday is a good time for us all to celebrate that it's the last day of the week, last day of my work week anyways. I have tomorrow where I'm going to be spending some time with an old friend who has recently had knee surgery, has his knee replaced. And so I'm going to spend some time with him. And another friend is going to go along, and we're going to take him lunch. But, I don't get to do that during the week. So think about how important it is for us all to get that sense of relief when the end of the work week comes, and you get to go and hang with your friends, or you get to go and spend some extra time with your spouse, whatever it is. That is one of those things where you don't get to do that during the week. So being able to do it on the weekend is really, really cool. So that's what we're up to tomorrow. And then, so tell me about your weekend. Tell me, what are you up to? I'd love to hear a little bit more. And while you're posting about that, tell me, let's see, about maybe your blind spots as well. So tell me what you're doing this weekend, and if you have blind spots, and if there's something that you want, if you want to be able to have that you just can't get to, maybe you have everything you want. That's okay too. But is there something that you're trying to do? Is there a promotion you're trying to get? Is there a relationship you're trying to heal? Is there something else that is just out of your reach that you want to get to and you can't get to it? Tell me about it, and I will hopefully be able to help you at least understand that you have a blind spot and how you can get past it. So I'm looking for your comments. Anything you come up with is great. I'm going to give you a couple minutes, and then we're going to go back to we're going to close out the show. But I'm going to tell you about what we have coming up. Next week is going to be phenomenal. So Monday, well, I told you about Friday. So this afternoon, not this afternoon, 11:30 today, where we're going to have Kelly Renee Baker come on and talk about her situation that she's going through, her medical situation. But that's going to be a phenomenal talk with her. And then on next week, Monday, is going to be me again, where I'm talking more about vision. So understanding your vision is really important. Now, my vision is to be able to help people to embrace their own personal blindness to achieve a greater vision for their lives. That's my vision. But there's going to be more to it than that. I'm going to be working on it over the weekend, writing it out more to make sure that I am doing my best to understand my vision, but also that process of writing it out is extremely important for us all to understand how something happens between the head and the pen when you do that and you write things out. I can't tell you how important it is. I keep saying that word important. I feel like I've said that about 1 million times today. But I can't tell you how important it is to be able to do that, to be able to write things out and to write down your vision. So we're going to work on that on Monday. Vision, remember. And then Tuesday, we have Jessica Rector coming on. Jessica Rector is a friend of mine, actually a friend from Facebook. I've never actually talked to her in person. So this is going to be great to have her on. She's going to talk about her success and her successful career as a speaker. So, yes, I'm connected to lots of different speakers through the National Speakers Association, but I also want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can to help you to understand how important it is to have your core beliefs, your core values, and your core strengths align with your vision. That is what Jessica has done so well. So I'm looking forward to having her on. I think it's on Tuesday. And then we have Joe Soto. Wow. Yeah. Joe Soto, the marketing expert, is going to be on February 4th. I believe that's Thursday. So looking forward to having him on, and it's going to be a great show. And then Friday is February 5th, and we have Peter Margaritas and Roxanne Elliott Kaufman. The both of them are going to be on. So I'm going to be interviewing them both. We're going to have a great time. We're looking forward to that. So lots of good stuff coming our way. Let's see. No more comments. Looks like we're about at our time. Thank you very much for joining today. I appreciate all of you. And let's see. If there's nothing else, remember, as always, keep one eye on the road. Have a good weekend.